I want to shift gears again to something that really has started to bubble up the last couple of years. It's in urban areas, but in rural areas too, and that has to do with copper theft and vandalism. It's a huge cost to us. We've experienced it out in western Montana, and it really is becoming a problem for our industries. I'm curious. How have your companies and your customers been impacted by vandalism and theft, and more importantly, what are you doing about it? Rhonda, let's start with you.
I mean, this has become a huge issue. I mean, it's been there, but I think, it's been really raising up on an awareness, which is so important. We've had over 7,000 incidents just this year, a lot of those in California, a lot in the LA market. And they're repeats, a lot of repeat incidents, and these do cost. I mean, it's not only the impact to the customers, which could be significant, right? From hospitals to, 911 calls to all the things that we rely on connectivity for, but, also for the time to repair, back in service, et cetera. I think we've costed out that this is over $60 million just to, do and address these issues, where we could be deploying more of that investment and working, with the connectivity issues, not continually dealing with the theft item. And it also is so important, and I'm sure, others can comment on this too, but this partnership with law enforcement, because it is, it's a crime. And different states are passing different levels of bills and legislation to help address this, but it has become more and more of a critical issue for serving our customers, to obviously to cost structure. And, this again is where, a lot of the thieves are getting the copper. The value of copper has gone up tremendous over the last few years, and it's in need and use so much for our, our EVs and other sorts of uses. It's in high demand. So recyclers are paying good money for this. This is an issue where I think collaboration between recyclers, law enforcement, the industry is important, because we need to figure out a way to help sort of get this under control and curb this issue. It's been very significant in our markets.
Yeah, Eric, you serve North Carolina and Virginia. How about in your neck of the woods?
It's gotten pretty bad. I mean, we used to worry about just people shooting birds off of aerial cable, right? We've seen vandalism of people stealing tools and things, but the copper theft has increased dramatically. We had someone steal, a backhoe. But they're also ripping up fiber thinking it's copper out of the ground and cutting it. And that's where it's extremely problematic. They don't even know what they're looking at. Pedestals, ripping pedestals out. It tracks to different places that are low income. It's risen dramatically for us, and it is a problem.
Yeah. Kathy, Verizon?
Yeah, completely agree with both Eric and Rhonda. And I know California has been a big, as you've already said, a big place where this has been an issue, in Texas too. I think Texas and California account for like half of the incidents and where we've had problems. So it's very significant for our customers, first responders, people who need emergency services. Like, it can be very serious. So Rhonda touched on legislation as an option. Like, there was recently legislation in California that puts more obligations, or at least transparency requirements, on dealers who purchase this, legally, but who have to be a little more careful about how they go about that. But also public awareness, I think, is part of what we can do, just to make sure that, if you see something, say something type messaging programs by law enforcement or by governments that just make people look for this really and identify when there's a problem and raise the alarm.
Bob?
Yeah, I think it's historically been an issue, and it cycles through my career based on the price of copper. Really, our, like others, focus has been, in some cases, and historically we alarmed it with some alarm wire, and that would help alert the authorities. But local relationships with the authorities, with the sheriff's department, county, whatever your alignment might be, and local law enforcement organization. But interestingly enough, it's been less of an issue as we've transitioned to fiber, even though, like Eric mentioned, some people think that it is still copper, and so they go and cut the fiber. There's been fewer instances of that, but we're a little over 60% fiberized now and continuing to grow quickly. So I expect that to decline over time.
Yeah, we in our operations in Montana about a year ago, we had someone break into our yard and actually steal an entire spool of fiber. Yeah. we joked about how disappointed those criminals were once they found out it was fiber instead of copper.
Yeah, I want to add a story too.
Yeah.
We have a central office in LA that's had repeated, sort of theft. They have become so, I don't know, perseverance and pulling up the manhole. They actually went in the manhole and burrowed through to the central office, got in the central office, and if you know the underground cabling in a central office, they've just pulled it all out and got this amazing amount. I mean, that was serious disruption to that community to destroy. But since then, we have put cement covers over manholes. We've gotten, I forget what the number was, how much we invested in some other sort of deterrents. And these guys come in with backhoes and other things and just rip it off. It's phenomenal to see how persistent some of these folks
Yeah.
are.